J.K. Rowling, the atheist whom God chose to shame the reverse believers. God can use any vessel. You know, he can use a clay vessel, he can use a broken vessel, and J.K. Rowling is a broken vessel. I remember when J.K. Rowling first took on the gender madness, and I remember the circumstances in which she took it on. It was so simple. All anyone had to do was stay out of her way, don't anger her, let her have her say. She simply defended a woman who had lost her government job because she refused to bend to gender ideology. She refused to pretend that men are women. J.K. Rowling wrote a very simple post. This woman should not lose her job because biology is real. These are men. But the people who run the gender industry availed themselves of some incredibly committed reverse believers. They do not believe their own eyes. They do not believe their own hands. They do not believe what is observable to everybody around them. They're reverse believers. They believe that if they think a thing enough, everyone else is going to be forced to think that thing just like them, and they were encouraged in this. They were affirmed in this. They were backed up in this by law. By law, it became so bizarre in England, UK, that if you as a woman had been sexually assaulted and you took the stand, a defense attorney could get you in trouble by saying, is the person who assaulted you in the courtroom? And if you said, yes, he's right there, boom. You could have a charge against you, and you could have your charges against the assaulter thrown out because you misgendered. It got so bizarre that when there was a mental hospital where it was reported that men were sexually assaulting women, the hospital came back and said, this isn't true. There are no men in our hospital. There's some trans women, but trans women are women. So God can use any vessel, and he's chosen J.K. Rowling, I think, for a special mission. This is what a gender jacker wrote about J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, believes if you're born a male, then you can never become a woman. Biologically, she's correct, but when you introduce this level of hate into debate, then rationality goes out the window. Listen to Labour Party MP Carolyn Harris make an absolute fool of herself.
She believes it's absolutely factual that if you're born a man, you can't ever be a woman. She says it's a matter of fact.
Well, biologically, she's correct.
Yeah.
But there are human beings here that feel that they are a woman. And I'm not saying that they're right or they're wrong. What I'm saying is when you introduce this level of hate into a debate, rationality goes out of the window and it becomes just an adversarial argument. There is no right or wrong in this. And I don't think she's in any way contributed in a productive.
The reason I say God has chosen J.K. Rowling is because God says he uses the simple things to shame the wise. That woman is a member of parliament saying, well, she's biologically correct, but she's not saying it in a nice way. Therefore, she's incorrect. God chose a woman who he gave the greatest possible facility in the use of language to go point out the madness of gender ideology and to have people like that show that they live in their own towers of Babel. Because I believe God is causing these people to babble endlessly around things that simply are not true. And there's some things that are not true biologically. There's also some things that are not true psychologically. And the Wall Street Journal, believe it or not, actually published a piece actually proving on the psychological front with gender ideology, it was never organic for 99% of the people. I'll show you that in a second. There's some things that aren't true about business. Just because you got a business loan for your small business does not mean that's a corporate line of credit. So understand, if your bank gave you a loan, they called it a business loan, and God forbid something went bad at the business, say a force majeure act of God, the business is gone, your bank can in all likelihood seize your house or your bank accounts, your personal assets. But you're saying, wait a minute. Nope, that's a corporate line of credit. No, in all likelihood, it's not. Same dynamic exists with what's called the corporate veil. Small, medium-sized business, even if it's been operating for 15 years, it can be that you do not have the corporate veil. And the corporate veil is what protects you from lawyers being able to go after your personal assets. My friends at Visible will fix this for you. Their website is govisible.com. They'll tell you if you have the corporate veil or corporate line of credit for free. And if you do not, they'll fix it for you. And yeah, they charge you for that part. But man, the cost is made up completely by the benefit. It's govisible.com. The Wall Street Journal has an opinion piece out. And the opinion piece is this: evidence backs the transgender social contagion hypothesis. And I should add the so-called transgender social contagion hypothesis. And yep, it goes right through the data. What they hinge this on is the 1,500% increase in kids and young people who are identifying as so-called transgender. And now the precipitous decline down into some populations. Now it's back down to the 2% it was always at, and less than that. And there were professors who were canceled for this, faced backlash, doxing, professional threats at Penn State for simply pointing something out. A 2-word tweet just about cost a professor a career. And the 2-word tweet was social contagion. The Wall Street Journal calls this out in an editorial with 3 separate authors. Talks about the signs of recession, the personal and cultural backlash being experienced that's causing kids to back off of ever pretending to be transgender. Praise God for this. It cannot be discounted that God chose someone like J.K. Rowling, an atheist, to use in this way, because atheists can sometimes speak to other atheists. After all, they can't possibly trust God.